I hope you had a very nice coffee break. And now, as announced, we are already at our last customer success stories. Therefore, I'm very pleased to welcome our next two guests and very charming ladies, Marcella and Janina. So Janina is our head of our Eastern Europe market since last year, and I can tell you she's doing an amazing job. So today she's going to highlight her own experience and challenges she were facing together with Marcella, her client from Eurowag, and how they successfully implemented our Concur solutions. So Janina, we are very curious now to hear from you how you coped with the project and also with the challenges, but how in the end you achieved a successful implementation. Thank you very much to both of you.
Thank you so much, Constance, for the nice introduction, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's session. Let me start off by saying it's a really special day for me today, and let me tell you why. My passion is all about people. And can you now imagine looking back 1 year ago when I started my journey at SAP Concur that we were not able to meet our customers face to face? Well, today is the day. It's our first date. But it's not about the date, it's about what you can gain from my guest's experience. She has already successfully integrated SAP Concur Travel and Expense, and she is here today for you. She traveled all the way from Prague to share her insights and experiences, and also, most importantly, to answer your dedicated questions. So this would be my advice to you. Take this chance and submit your questions in the corresponding box below, and Marcella and I will be able to answer it during or at the end of our session. But now, without any further ado, let me introduce her to you. So welcome, Marcella. Thank you so much for doing this session with me today. I think it's really valuable for our customers to see a real story. But before we dig deep into the project and also more details, maybe can you share a little bit about Eurowag as a company?
Sure, thank you. Good afternoon, and I'm really pleased to be here. And thank you on behalf of Eurowag for the invitation.
Thank you so much.
We are really glad to be here. So, Eurowag is a leading pan-Europe integrated payments and mobility platform focused on commercial road transportation industry. We are a public listed company since October 2021. And the group operates across 30 countries within the Europe, and we serve more than 15,000 customers. We also have more than 1,000 employees.
Wow.
And the group has experienced double-digit growth, both organic and also via acquisitions. We are based in Prague, Czech Republic, so our headquarters is in Prague.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So we can imagine a little bit. And also, I think it's important what you said about the fast-growing possibilities. So we will come back later to that in our session. But before we start, maybe Marcella, you can tell us a little bit about the process and how it looked before introducing SAP Concur, because I can imagine that most of our viewers are maybe standing right before introducing a travel and expense solution or are already in the implementation phase. So what did the process look like before at Eurowag?
Yeah, the process at Eurowag was very fragmented. So it was not standard at group level at all.
Okay.
And the accounting team was received different type of the receipts and inputs from our employees. Some of them were received really in the envelopes. Some of them via some pictures and via Excel files. Also, the approval process was not set up or aligned across the group level. So some approvals were handled by email, some approvals through business workflow. So really different approach. It was really hard for us to keep the visibility, and the reconciliation was really hard to manage and also time consuming. Also, it was really hard for us to manage credit cards expenses due to the fact that we had more providers for the credit cards.
Okay.
And
not just one.
Not just one, and therefore it was really time consuming also for the accountants to connect the receipts with the bank statement expenses, etc. So we knew that we have to change it, and due to the fact that we are really growing and we expect to grow moving forward, we really needed to set up a rule-based environment within the company.
Really important.
Yes, and update also travel policy, because travel policy was, I don't want to say weak, but it was not really strict and rules-based. So we updated the travel policy as well in order to move forward and follow the SAP Concur rule-based environment.
Perfect, thank you so much. And I believe maybe some of our viewers can also identify with some of those challenges you were facing before changing the process. When now looking at the specific project, Marcella, can you tell us what was the scope that Eurowag chose in the end, and also how was the implementation delivered?
So as I said, as we are a Czech-based company and our headquarters is in Prague, we have approximately 60 or more than 60% employees are based in Prague, in Czech Republic. So it was quite pragmatic to start here, and we started with the all Czech entities with the SAP implementation. We back to the past, last year, we decided to implement only expense module.
Yes.
Because at this time we had active contract with the travel agency.
With a local one.
With a local one, yes. But now we are considering to implementing also the travel module. But for time being, we've been implementing the expense module. When the solution was selected back in the summer last year, it took us approximately 6 months with the implementation due to the fact that we had some internal circumstances with updating the travel policy, with the setup based rule environment. We also needed to focus on the training and explaining the employees that they will be now responsible for their expenses, to submit them and not just to send them to the accountant.
To do it by themselves.
As it was in the past. We partnered also with the third-party implementation partner, but the integration with ERP was done by us internally.
Wow.
So
big project also.
Exactly. And we also standardized the credit cards. Currently we are using only one card provider, which is connected with our solution as well, and it with the solution of SAP Concur, and it helped and had impact on the effectiveness of the process. So
perfect. No, thank you so much for sharing. And I also think it's important that you mentioned the implementation partner, because in the region we are actually working with certified Concur implementation partners that also know the local rules and regulations. So thanks for sharing. And Marcella, what is always really interesting is, I mean, no project is really perfect and everything goes well. So we know that, but it's really interesting for us to maybe, can you briefly tell us about the challenges actually, also when looking back now on the whole project. So what for you were the most challenging times or circumstances?
You know, so implementation as such always tests your environment, and we immediately knew when we started with the implementation that our data was not good enough. So we had a problem with we didn't have enough quality in the master data, and we knew that we had to change it. So we immediately started to work on it regarding the employees' data, but not only employees' data, but also the approval hierarchy, controlling objects.
Okay, so everything regarding data, basically.
Yeah, and also it was required our HR department to step in and work with us. And it was due to the fact that we are using different tools within the Eurowag. And we have HR platform when all employees are loaded, like also the new joiners, leavers, etc. But we have our CRM platform for all vendor master data. And we have ERP. So it needed to be connected. All of this needed to be connected together, and also with the Concur. So it was a little bit heavily. And when I mentioned that it took 6 months, it also through to these internal circumstances that we had. So this was the quite big challenge.
Yeah, but I think that's enough of a challenge, but I also think that some of our viewers can really relate to that. And now we've heard the challenges, Marcella, I think everyone is keen to know what would be then your recommendations. So maybe you can drill it down on your top 3 or 4 recommendations for our audience, where we have to be a little bit careful, or as you said, have a look at before we start a project.
It's really important to have a clear roles and responsibilities. Who is doing what and what is the role of these people. As I mentioned, there are different departments entering into the process. Yeah. In our case, it was HR because of the employees, it was treasury because of the credit cards and credit cards policy, it was IT because of the integration, it was finance, and from finance, usually it's accounts payable. In our case, it was accounts payable team. So it needs to be really clearly defined the responsibilities of these people.
Good point, yeah.
Who is responsible for what. So, and also strong project manager. Without project manager, it's really hard to handle.
Yes.
And what I would recommend is the implementation partner or someone who is really experienced with the SAP Concur. That this helped us a lot.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think maybe we can now have a look a little bit at our chat box. If we have questions from... Okay. So, yeah, it seems, Marcella, that there are no questions so far. You can always hand it in later if you like, and we're going to get back to you. Yeah, so I would say, wrapping up, what is important for Marcella and I that you take away from today's session? It's basically 3 main points. So first of all, really important what Marcella says, stabilize your processes and your interfaces before starting a project in the best case scenario. Then test your environment, secondly. So also all of the departments that are also touching the project, please involve them early enough. And last but not least, as the third point, please take care of clear roles and responsibilities so that everyone knows what they are doing, and that with a strong governance. Yeah, so I would say this was our session for today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marcella, for joining me.
Thank you for being here.
And back to you, Constance.
Thank you very much, Janina. And also from my side, special thanks, Marcella, for coming over from Prague, actually, which is not like next door. So thank you very much for being here and sharing also all those insightful challenges, experience you were facing when implementing our Concur solutions. I think this helped as well our audience to really understand what this kind of whole project scope looks like. And now, as said before, we are coming now to the end here from our studio too. And before I'm going to head back to the immersive studio to Christian and then having our lunch break, I would really like to invite you to our afternoon program. We're going to have the chance to meet one of our winners of our this year's Concur Innovation Awards. It's Infineon Technologies. So at this point, I'd like to thank you for your presence, but also for your participation in our chat. And I would just like say, I hope you had as much a great time as I definitely had it. So stay tuned and come back here to the studio for the afternoon program and hear you very soon. Thank you.